Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your girl Yona. Welcome to Yona's Universe. I'm back, and today's episode is about isolation. Now, isolation is kind of a big topic, but I'm sure that at some point throughout all of our lives, we've gone through this period of isolation. And we may separate from a job that we held for X amount of years or X amount of time. We may separate from friends that we've had, right? We may separate from parents or family members that we've had in our life, and it seems like everything is changing and we have no control over it. So it can feel very chaotic, right? It can feel like we're being punished, right? Because a lot of the times, maybe we start reflecting on some misdeeds or some mistakes that we've made in the past, right? And how we could have handled things a little better. So the period of isolation in our life can feel like a punishment because you're separated from people that you love, right? You're separated from that job that you had for however long, right? So you don't really know how to move forward, how to go forward, which direction you should even go in, right? But I believe that the true reason for isolation is so that we can realign with our heart and our soul and pursue our soul's purpose. Now, your soul's purpose doesn't have to be just one thing, right? It can be, helping people and achieving this other thing, right? It all just depends on what your soul wants. Every soul wants something different. So it really just depends on what your soul wants. But instead of thinking of isolation as a punishment for something that you did wrong or whatever you come up with in your mind, I think we should really think about isolation as kind of a retreat, right? Kind of a retreat from life, because you've been separated from everything and everyone that you once knew, right? Everyone that was important in your life. Maybe you don't talk to them as much or whatever, what have you, right? You're not going out. You're not doing the things that you used to do that you used to like. Maybe you don't like those things anymore. Isolation is this kind of retreat. It's a time period that I think Source or God, whatever you want to call it, wants you to take that time to take a step back, right? So you can look at, okay, this is the life that I've built up until now. These things are no longer working for me. These things are no longer serving me, right? They used to have a purpose. Back when I was in survival, they had a purpose, right? But now that I've transitioned into thriving, they no longer serve a purpose, right? They no longer serve your highest good. Or these people, they were great back when I was in survival mode, back when I was making all those toxic choices, right? Back when I was trying to figure some stuff out and I don't know nothing about nothing, right? But now you got a little experience under your belt, right? Now you're really going with the flow of, or trying to go with the flow of what's for you, what is truly for you, what your heart aligns with and what your soul aligns with. Because over time and through experience, you find out what you like and what you don't like, right? You find out what type of friends you want to be around and what type of friends you don't, right? What you'll take from parents or family members and what you won't. And a lot of times in finding out what you won't tolerate or what you don't like, you do lose the people around you. And the isolation period definitely gives you time to grieve those losses, because just because someone isn't dead doesn't mean that you can't grieve a relationship. You can absolutely grieve a friendship or grieve that job that you thought you would work at forever, or grieve that partner that you thought you would have forever. And now you know that it does not align with your purpose and it does not align with your highest good. Isolation is really about taking the time to understand you, get to know you, get to know your heart, get to know your soul. So the next part of your journey, You can stand in your own strength, walk in that strength, and know, okay, all of those things used to work for me. It doesn't work for me anymore, but this is who I am. And I'm not going to compromise it. This is who I am, and I don't care what anybody else has to say about anything. No, I'm not acting bougie, but if that's what they want to call it, fine, they can call it that. Because at the end of the day, I know what I'm walking in. I know why I'm walking in that. You find a lot of your purpose. And granted, depending on your age group, it may not be all of it. For overall, it may not even be a lot of it, but you find enough of it to take your next step in your life journey, right? It's important to take time to process the things that have happened, right? Because up until now, in losing these people or these circumstances, that job, that partner, your life is shifting immensely. And it's not for a bad reason. I think the universe is always working for us and not happening to us, or working for us and not against us, right? So it's really setting you up so you can align, reevaluate, and then execute the next step or portion of your life. But we really need to take that time to step back, because without losing that job, we wouldn't have the space to be like, okay, I didn't actually like that job. The only reason I was at that job was because I had great benefits, right? So I didn't even like what I was doing at that job. I was just there because of the benefits, right? Or I didn't really like the dynamic of the friendship that I was in, right? We've been friends for so long that, I felt I had to say, like, all of these different things everyone goes through. And so in these periods of isolation, it's important to start healing yourself. The healing is so imperative, because without the healing, you just attract more of what you already came from, right? Because you had your own vibration, your own, ideas, beliefs, core values, whatever. And that's what attracted that life and that lifestyle. But now that you have the space because of isolation, you can really be mindful and be like, okay, I was willing to put up with this back then because of whatever core value I had, or wherever my self-esteem was at, whatever that may apply to you, right? But in isolation, you can be like, okay, well, I wasn't really there because it was making me happy, right? I wasn't at that job because it was making me happy, because it gave me joy. I wasn't with this partner because they made me happy or they gave me joy. And that's not to say that that's the only thing that happens in relationships, right? Relationships are absolutely about growth and building and intimacy and all of those different things. But you have to learn discernment, right? So if you can discern, okay, I'm growing in this relationship, it may be really fucking hard because growth is incredibly uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, I know I love this person. I know I'm growing with this person. I know it's for my highest good. You have to use discernment, because then you could confuse that with, oh, well, I'm just not happy in this relationship, but that happens in relationships, right? And it's like, no, is that relationship serving your highest good? Is that friendship serving your highest good? Is that job serving your highest good? Is that atmosphere, is that environment serving your highest good? Because we can talk about moving to, like, you can literally move out of an environment because it is so toxic. And that could be a household, that could be whatever neighborhood or hood you grew up in, that could be family members, right? Like, you don't have to continue to put up with family members that don't serve your highest good or that are toxic as fuck, and they're bringing you down. Every time you tell them about your dreams, they're just gonna shit on it, right? Every time you come to them with good news, they're gonna be like, oh, but why didn't you do better? You don't need to be around people like that. Or they try to talk you into something else, right? Oh, well, I really want to start this business. And it's like, oh, well, you don't really have the money to start business. You should just get a 9-to-5. Like, is that really the energy that you want to be around? So inside of isolation, you can start really taking the time to yourself to understand what you're really about, what you want to do moving forward, who you want to be around, the environment you want to be in, the thoughts that you want to have, right? I don't want to say that, oh, control your thoughts, but meditation and being mindful of your thoughts is very important, because if you have those negative thoughts that were put in your head by parents, friends, family, and so all you do is talk down on yourself, you have to get rid of those thoughts too, or else you're going to continue to perpetuate the lifestyle that you just had, that you are trying to get out of, right? The thought process is incredibly important. Read books, like really, like, and I am delivered, but I'm not preaching to you from a pedestal, right? I'm in the dirt with y'all. I'm going through everything. I'm in my own isolation period. And these are the insights that I'm gaining from my isolation period. It's about the transformation. Like, back then you weren't consistent because you didn't think you were worth it, right? You didn't think you were worth having that next job. You didn't think you were worth having that amazing relationship. You didn't think you were worth having that body that you want. But in isolation, you start to kind of unravel the trauma at your core that was preventing you from achieving this next part of your life, this new alignment in your life. Isolation is important because you really find out who you are. And not only do you find out who you are, but you find out who everybody else is too. And in the roles in your life, you absolutely find out who everybody else is. And that's part of the process. People that kick you down, people that kick you while you are down, they don't need to be around. As much as you love them, as much as you would kill for them, die for them, whatever, sacrifice for them, they don't need to be around you. Because if they're willing to kick you while you're down, what are they going to do when you're up? They're going to drag your ass, right? You don't need that. You don't want that. So, in isolation, right? If you're feeling isolated, think about it like this. You were plugged in to one set of environment, vibration, people, what have you, right? The universe is like, what are you doing? You don't belong here. And you're like, well, I don't know how to get out because I've been plugged into this for so long, right? Everything around you starts shifting. You don't know how to get out of the job, you lose it, right? You don't know how to get out of that friendship or that relationship, you lose it, right? That person might leave you, or you might be brave enough to leave the relationship, right? Because that takes a lot of balls too, or strength, because I don't like to attribute strength to any one gender. That takes a lot of strength in itself, right? Everything starts shifting around you. Everything. And you really have to be mindful, and you have to take a step back to understand why everything is shifting around you. Okay, I was here, I didn't know how to get out, now I'm out. Oh, it's weird because, like, I do love those people, and I am nostalgic about that environment, and, you know, all those people that were in that environment, right? I am nostalgic about that job that I had because maybe it got me out of a crazy situation. But you wanted to get out. Everything started shifting. It's okay to feel like you need to grieve those relationships, that circumstance, that parent. It's okay. It's okay to be like, man, I remember I used to pray to like not be in this situation, and now I'm sad that I'm not in that situation. Like, that is okay. That is okay. It's part of life. It's part of processing. That's why it's important to feel what you're feeling. Like, actually feel inside of your body what you're feeling. The type of reaction that it's causing inside of your body. It's okay. And it's also okay not to listen to every single thought that runs through your head. Just because you have a thought about something doesn't mean it's true. It also doesn't mean that it's false. It just is. It just is a thought. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean that it's false. It's just a thought. You do not have to give every single thought that you have power, right? Because when you focus energy on it, you start giving it energy. You start giving it more power. So pay attention to the thoughts that you want to give power to and the ones that you don't. And even the ones that may come across as negative or are perceived as negative, you don't have to ignore them, because the more you push, the more resistance you add, right? The more you push something away, the more resistance you add, the more it tries to come back to you. So if you're having those negative thoughts or perceivably negative thoughts, you can say, okay, I see you. I acknowledge you. And that's it. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to fight with yourself on why it's false or fight with yourself on why it's true. Just, okay, you're a thought. I acknowledge you. You're a thought. No, but it's like, you're a thought in my head. I acknowledge it. I see you. And it's okay that you're here. And that's it. The more you don't want something to be there, the more it's going to fight you to be there. So even when you're trying to focus on positive, and you don't have to be toxic positive, like, oh, only focus on the positive. Like, no, you're human. That's okay. Life is about checks and balances. Everything is intertwined. Everything is connected, right? So just, okay, I see you. I feel where you are in my body. I feel the effect you're having on my body. I acknowledge you. And I love you. And you're allowed to exist in my body. And watch how quick that emotion will be like, oh, okay. I don't know what to do now. Okay, well, thanks for seeing me. And it literally will leave. And I didn't invent this, right? I've gotten this from Kyle Cease. He has a lot of videos on YouTube where he explains being okay with where you are, right? Because a lot of times we want to get to the next step, but in order to get to the next step, you have to be okay with where you are, just energetically, emotionally. So he really talks about acknowledging the emotions that are coming up whenever you're facing something difficult, whenever you're triggered, acknowledging them. You do not have to react to them or from them. You don't even necessarily have to respond to them or from them, right? You can, but I think the ultimate thing that your emotions want is just to be seen. So in this period of isolation, you can really start to, a lot of people call it like doing your shadow work, doing your light work, finding where your place is in this life. But you don't have to find your full place in this life, because what you're supposed to be doing and what you're supposed to be accomplishing, it changes with your evolution. So you don't have to pinpoint one thing, because in a year or 2 or 5 or 30, it's not going to be the same thing that it was. So isolation is just understanding that you were here. You didn't want to be here anymore. Your soul didn't want to be here anymore. So you got unplugged, or you unplugged. It's pretty much the same. And now you're just like, okay, what's my new vibration? How do I create a new vibration, right? How do I facilitate a new vibration? I work on myself. How do I come from my soul? How do I know what my soul wants? How do I know what my heart wants? I listen. And sometimes you're not going to hear anything because you're doing it for the first time. Sometimes you're going to hear everything because it's like all of these things in your body that wanted to be heard is now finally being heard. You just sit and listen. Just listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Listen to your heart. Listen to your soul. And you'll know exactly where you need to go, which direction you need to step in, and where your heart is, where your soul wants to take you. And it is a little scary. I don't want you to think it's not. Like, starting that business, gonna be scary, because you don't know nothing about starting a business, right? Starting that new career, gonna be scary, because you don't know nothing about that career, right? New friendships gonna be a little scary because you don't know nothing about those people. Right? But it's okay. It's okay. And you don't have to assume all or nothing about those people. Just take it as it comes. Same with your career. Same with your business. Take it as it comes. There are going to be difficult times. There are difficult times in life. But it's not about trying to shield and protect yourself from the difficult things in life. But it's about understanding there are going to be difficult times, and that is okay. And we can shift. The difficult time hits your business, we can shift. The difficult time hits you and your friends, y'all can shift. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it is doable. It's not impossible. Isolation, very important. I just wanted to say that I just wanted to shift how people look at isolation, because a lot of the times we look at it like, oh, I'm so lonely. I don't have any friends. I don't have any family. I hate this job, or I don't have a job. Like I'm hitting rock bottom. Like we just look at it as this, like, life is happening to us. We look at it as if it's a punishment, and it doesn't have to be. I don't think it's supposed to be. That's not to say that there aren't going to be hard emotions and hard experiences that come with it, but I don't think it's supposed to be a punishment. I think it's supposed to reveal to us who we really are. It's about the evolution. It's about the transformation. It's supposed to reveal to us who we really are, where our heart really is, where our soul really is, where it wants to go. And we just honor that, because that's us. I think it's us. It's you. So that's what I wanted to say about isolation. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and comment your thoughts on isolation. Comment your trials and tribulations if you want to. Like, comment, like, share, subscribe. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time.